Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I'm Andy Signor, and today I want to ask the question, who is Michael Kane? And no, I'm not talking about beloved actor Michael Kane. No, I'm talking about Britney Spears' new business manager, Michael Kane. I know a lot of people in the Free Britney movement are skeptical of this guy. They're worried because he was seemingly brought in November 2020 by Jamie, which is obviously a red flag. He also was Michael Jackson's business manager during the This Is It tour, where a lot of fans were speculating, oh gosh, no, Jamie's bringing this guy in. He's the one who forced MJ to perform all those days while he died. Look, a lot of people had all this concern. Was it justified? And then there was this email that came out that was shared by the Free Britney camp. Meaner3 shared it. This is the guy who's hired to replace Lou, was hired as Michael Jackson's business manager shortly before his death. Screenshots from an exchange between him and MJ's team. 5 days. Is this Lou 2.0? And this was the email in question that sent a lot of people, in a tizzy. To Randy Phillips, who's the AEG promoter who was putting on the tour, would a financial coming to Jesus speech help or add to his pressure? Now, a lot of people saw this and they got worried, justifiably so. It seemed like the business manager was trying to crack the whip to the concert promoter, like, work him to the bone, which then obviously must have sent him to his death. That's what a lot of people assumed. Well, I got Michael Kane to email me a response to this. Yeah, that's right. I got it right here, guys. I got Michael Kane on the record, exclusive statement only here on Popcorn Planet, breaking down this quote. Now, how did this happen? Before I even get to the quote, let me break this down. Full disclosure, full transparency. I did not talk to him about Britney Spears. It was very clear that's not what he was able to talk about. I get it. Matthew Rosengart is Britney Spears' lawyer, and he's the person who speaks for Britney. So I'm not pushing for that. I didn't want to cross any lines there. Honestly, when I got this email from Michael Kane, I was a little nervous at first. I thought, oh my God, am I getting sued? What's going on here? But he reached out to me because he had seen the Michael Jackson video I did where I declared that I think Michael Jackson is innocent. And I went out against filmmaker Dan Reed, who made Leaving Neverland, which I firmly believe was a hit piece, completely biased. It's not a documentary at all. It's really unfair. And I think he's been caught in a numerous bunch of lies. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Andy, you're talking crazy Michael Jackson. Look, I completely disagree. I've gone down the wormhole. There's so much there. I've talked to Taj, and he's helped me see a lot more information. If you want to learn more about my take on Michael, I'm going to put an iCard there in the top right. You can go watch that video. I'll put it at the end as well. But because of this video, Michael Kane, John Branca, they reached out. They were impressed by the coverage. They thought I did a good job. Thank you. It's really cool. Scary and cool to know that these people are all watching, because these are some powerful people. But I was like, of course I'd like to have a call and talk. And they basically just, offered to let me know, to reach out, that if I ever had any questions and if they could answer them, they would, regarding Michael. But also very clearly, like, I can't speak about any other artists. In fact, that was the first thing he said in the email, only willing to provide limited responses on the MJ matter, and I will have no comments whatsoever about any other artists that I represent. Clearly, he's talking about Britney there. Now, who is Michael Kane? Before we even read this statement, because it's a long one, you can see him on his website at Miller Kaplan. This was very easy to find. I've seen some people sort of try to say, oh, I don't know anything. We can't find it was right there. His business, this is the public website, breaks down that he's a tax guy. He actually worked for the IRS back in a few years ago, etc. You can learn a lot, but 25 years exposure to high level, complex, international compliance. Look, clearly this guy knows what he's doing with books. And he did work for Michael Jackson's estate. I don't know how long, but it does seem he did it as well before the This Is It tour, that they had a relationship prior. So I thought, look, we got this statement. I can't really get him to talk about Britney, understandably. I'm not going to try to ruin that contact. I'd like to keep this contact going. I'd like to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, I applaud the transparency and actually reaching out in the first place. It's the first good step I've seen. Please, hopefully we can continue a dialogue and get some information from him as he's able to deliver all these people and actually treat us as equals. What a thought, right? Lou Taylor's not out there offering comments. Lou Taylor is out there, trying to take down videos. So I thought this was actually a pretty interesting approach. So let's break down his quote, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you about some of the reasons as to why I'm not immediately trying to knock this guy. But first, let's go through this exclusive quote here. It's a long one. There's 3 screens here. Let me do my best to read through it all. Here's Michael Kane responding to that email in question about the financial coming to Jesus. Regarding my June 20th email to Randy Phillips, aka the financial coming to Jesus speech, my comments are set forth below. Most of my responses herein will be similar in nature to the testimony that I gave under oath at the IRS versus the State of Michael Jackson trial. My obligation as Michael Jackson's business manager was not to tell Michael what he wanted to hear, but rather what Michael needed to hear. Put into context, the quote you're asking about was sent shortly before we were scheduled to open his tour in London. What was not known to the public at the time, but became quite clear and public during the IRS trial, was that prior to Michael's passing, he was basically insolvent. With respect to the tour, we presented ample evidence to the court demonstrating that Michael had already borrowed more than $34 million from AEG against the anticipated profits, if any, from the tour. Moreover, Michael had additional non-tour related debt exceeding $400 million. Bear in mind that we had not yet incurred all the expenses associated with a tour of this magnitude, especially given it was to occur in a foreign country. Accordingly, significant additional expenditures were anticipated. When presenting financial information to Michael, it was of paramount importance that we provided Michael with true and accurate financial information and not sugarcoat it. We budgeted and modeled projected financial forecasts under a wide variety of scenarios, and none of them provided for a financially viable outcome. Clearly, changes needed to be made and candid discussions were required, but Michael remained resolute and steadfast in his unwillingness to sacrifice his art in favor of budgets. So we remained at a crossroad. Hence my comment about a financial coming to Jesus speech. The financial commitments relative to the existing spending were of grave concern to me and the rest of the financial advisors. The financial coming to Jesus quote was simply an offhand comment made early on a Saturday morning from me to Randy. We were all working around the clock, and as I had known Randy for several years, it was sent informally and privately, I thought, in the spirit of the grave reality associated with the financial position Michael was in at the time. I left Michael rehearsing at the Staples Center about 11:30 p.m. the night of June 24th, and one of the last exchanges Michael and I had was me saying to him, "I'll see you tomorrow." And he replied coyly that I should stick around and watch him rehearse so he could show me how the money was being spent. The next day, we all learned the horrific news that the greatest entertainer ever had passed away. I was fortunate to have watched the rehearsal many times, and to this day, I'm still sad that the world didn't get to see the show. It was amazing. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend seeing This Is It, the movie. I hope that clears it up. I will have no further comment. Regards, Michael Kane. Now, look, I see this quote, and I can see where he's coming from. I can, if I'm looking at this objectively. No disrespect to Michael. He was in massive debt. He was doing this concert. He needed to do this concert. It seemed like he wanted to do this concert. And the real villain in the story of Michael Jackson was the doctor, Conrad. Like, guy was a murderer. And he was hopping him up on stuff that was not, that's what did it. Now, the work, the stress, I'm sure none of it helped. But I don't know. I don't see any proof that these people, especially Michael Kane, was responsible for that. Michael Kane, in his own words, was saying, look, this was a very grave situation, and we needed to have a coming to Jesus conversation on the finances of the fact that we can't keep dicking around. Honestly, I'd want my accountant to speak to me that way too if my finances were that not put together. You don't want an accountant who's going to lie to you and tell you, oh, yeah, great. And then, well, where's the money going? Sometimes being an accountant sucks, I imagine, because you got to tell them the hard news, especially if they don't have the finances they think they do. So say what you will about him. I appreciate that he gave us this quote. I think it's very nice to see this. So I applaud him in that regard of, great, he's talking to us. I don't even just want to focus on me. Great that we got this exclusive quote, but Mr. Kane, thank you for speaking out and helping offer some clarity about this. I think we all react better when we can get that kind of stuff from these people, especially these extremely powerful people. So I applaud him. Now knowing all this and sort of figuring out, well, what about the fact, Andy? What about the fact that Britney was upset because Jamie picked him? Okay, valid. Totally red flag city. I'm with you. However, let's not forget, who's in charge now? Matthew Rosengart. Do you trust him? I do. It seems like from everything we've seen with Britney, I trust him. Now, do all these guys in Hollywood maybe look out for themselves a little bit in addition? And do they want to get paid? Of course. It's all of its business dealings. But do I believe Matthew Rosengart's doing anything shady right now? No. See no evidence of that. I think he's got his best interests. I think, yeah, he's probably going to get paid at some point. Yeah, he might have some involvement in some of her deals. I got no problems with that. When you see how happy she is next to him and that how he has turned her life around and she's now free to do what she wants with a lot of plans coming on her terms, I got to trust his instincts, right? And the reality is he's kept Michael Kane. So I can only assume someone like Rosengart has done his homework on this guy to ensure that he's not going to look stupid hiring somebody else who's going to be as bad as Lou Taylor. Just because Jamie hired him doesn't mean he wasn't good and means that his allegiance was to Jamie. Look, I'm sure Michael Caine's allegiance is to the money. So, of course, that's what an accountant should be, to their client's money. All right, how do we make sure we get them more money? That gets everybody more paid more. It's always going to be the intent. Now, obviously, doing that ethically and morally to make sure that their client isn't put against their will and doing things that they don't want. But I don't see that happening now. I don't. I know there's some Britney conspiracy theorists still out there who think it's all still crazy, that she's not even on her Instagram. She's still... I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that here. Look, do I believe Michael Caine's like the perfect person and we should all not, pay attention to what he's doing? Hell no. Of course, dude, Michael Kane, I appreciate the comment, but yeah, we should all keep our eyes on everybody in this case, including Rosengart, including Michael Kane, just to ensure that they're all, treating our queen, Britney Spears, the right way. And so far, I see no proof of him doing anything against that. Now, yes, Jamie Spears brought him in. That's going to always create some of your doubts. Mr. Kane, if you want to comment on that or anybody wants to, by all means, please let us know. Is that even true? I don't know. I wasn't able to ask him about the Britney stuff. I wanted to respect that. But I don't know. I just don't believe Rosengart would have kept him around if he really was from that era and was going to be dangerous in any way or be a bad spot on Rosengart's glowing resume right now of freeing Britney. Now, do I believe he was the one forcing MJ to perform 5 days a week? No, I don't. I don't think he was. I think he was clearly the money guy who was there to try and keep everyone honest and keep them on the toes of this is what the finances are and it's not good. Now, could that pressure have been one of the factors that put, Michael to that place? Maybe, but it wasn't the real one. It was Conrad, the doctor, who's clearly the one who killed Michael. It seems like Michael wanted to do the tour, but Michael was going through his own awful issues with that doctor and everything else. And if anything, I'd be more upset with AEG, which I know went through a whole lawsuit. But look, my point being, I just don't see anything here to make me be so nervous yet about Michael Kane. And honestly, I'm grateful he reached out. It's not going to change my reporting. I'm not going to report what he wants me to report. I am going to try, obviously, to be as honest and fair to everybody moving forward because I think we have to be. I don't want to just jump down and assume that everybody involved in Britney's case is evil. And I don't think you should either. I'm grateful he gave us a quote. I think it's an interesting quote. I'm curious what you guys think regarding the Michael email. Does that help clear it up for you guys? Do you still think there's trouble here? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Overall, though, I think so far, let's give this guy a shot. Let's see what happens. Now, yeah, Jamie abruptly hired a guy and TriStar went out, but if Michael Kane can help throw TriStar down and Lou Taylor down, then I'm going to applaud this guy with a standing ovation. And who's to say he's not gonna? What proof do we have to get worried yet? I don't have it yet. Now, guys, keep your eyes peeled, and obviously if we see something wrong, we will report it for you. But in the meanwhile, thank you, Mr. Kane, for giving us that quote. It does add some clarity here that I appreciate, and I definitely will be hopefully staying in touch and getting as much intel as the trial against HBO progresses, as I'd love to support and continue to support the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, what happened to him after his death. All of this has just been so tragic, and I can't stand for it. And honestly, I like that they're out there trying to make sure that they get the truth out there. It's encouraging. I hope they continue to do that and have that same energy with Britney. That's what we want, is transparency and the truth. And so far, that's what I'm seeing. And I think this is good news. But what do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that like button, and leave a comment down below on your thoughts on this quote. Does this help ease you a little bit? Are you still concerned? What are you concerned about? I'd love to hear your feedback down below. But again, thanks to Michael Kane for giving us this exclusive quote on Popcorn Planet. This is cool. I'm impressed when you find out the people we're reporting at are in fact watching this coverage. It blows my mind every time, and I'm grateful for all you guys in this community for helping to get it to this point. I will continue to do my best to report as honestly and transparent as I can, and just keep my feelings the same and honest and real. That's all I can do here. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me, and thanks so much for all you watching. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming this week. I'm not actually here in studio. I'm on vacation, but I've banked some content for you, and Steph the Alternator will be live all week long. So show her some support and stay tuned for more.